actually not that they think they're too good, it's because they're scared.
I was really good at conveyancing, really good, but I was shit at mortgages.
Purple Bricks came in and they listed on Rightmove. They've done all of those things which I think exposed the estate agents for not being real estate agents.
The problem, though, is that the vast majority of people are sat there not happy with the wages they're getting paid.
Just let go of the ego. You can't always get it right.
The amount of agents out there is going to shrink with the advent of AI automation.
But AI is going to allow independent business owners to run that little more quickly at a lower cost base. The bit for me that dies is corporate.
So good or bad recruitment can either scale or destroy your agency business. Are you wasting hours on CVs, bad interviews, and paying huge recruitment fees? If so, there's a smarter way. Inside Talent is the Netflix of estate agency recruitment. They hire, train, and retain all under your brand for one simple monthly fee. So, podcast listeners, you're going to love this. Look out and make sure you lock this down. It's 10% off their yearly subscription when you contact the team at Inside Talent and quote #Showdown. Now, you need to check them out, don't you? www.insidetalent.com. Inside Talent, smarter hiring made simple.
Now, on that note, should we start? So, welcome to Estate Agent Showdown. I'm Matt Giggs, and I've got two amazing guests who are already talking about how much they dislike each other. And that is Steph Walker from TA UK. And I'll class you as the founder, is that right?
One of
the founders. And Matt Baldock, one of the Baldock brothers.
Yes.
David Charles Casson.
Charles David Casson.
Charles David Casson. That's a fucking good start, isn't it? Sorry about that.
Don't worry about that. Matt Goggs, that's fine.
Gigs, Matt.
You can call me the founder of the Baldock Brothers because I'm the older
Can I
one,
say
so,
that?
Yeah.
What will Neil say if he...
Well, technically I was here first, so...
Good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it. So, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Steph's had a 3.5 hour run. What's your travel time been like? You came on the train, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of hours. Just mainly, it was fine until I got to Peterborough and found the only taxi driver that didn't know his way around Peterborough. So, road closures and really confused him. And then
part of the mission on this podcast is to test the shit out of every guest in terms of trying to find where the hell we are.
I ended up in a Tesco, and it's like everybody in there knew I wasn't from around here. It was just like a really local Tesco, and everyone gave you that look, like, you're not from here.
100%.
But, I made it out, so it's okay.
So, is traditional estate agency absolutely fucked? And I don't care who answers the question first, but Steph, you've already said yes.
Oh, 100%.
100% left. Tell me a bit more about what your thoughts are on that.
God, we're straight in.
Straight in. Let's just go.
So I always say I don't think that most estate agents go to work to do a bad job.
No.
But I think the system most of them are plugged into absolutely has nothing to do with helping people move home. In fact, it's almost the antithesis of helping people move home. And let's have an arbitrary KPI at every single point of the process.
Yeah.
And without thinking that actually we are dealing with a huge moment in somebody's life. It's emotionally charged. And we should be giving estate agents within the variety of models that are out there the time and the resource to be able to dedicate some time and resource to that person's moving home journey. And in the vast majority of cases, that doesn't happen. And I think now, race to bottom on fees, volume, all of these kind of things, it's gone so far that the vast majority of estate agency businesses, I believe, have no hope. But that's a really, really good thing.
For
the rest of us who actually give a shit
and
are half decent at what we do.
But do you think there's a lot of agencies, traditional agencies, that do give a shit? I mean, I'll come to you in a second, Matt. But they're so conditioned by the models that have been created, or do you think they're just refusing to adapt?
Well, look, I'll be fair in that running an estate agency business of any type is very costly, actually, unless you join a brokerage. And that's not a plug, that's just a fact.
By the way, Chris was on the show earlier and he must have plugged, I think I count, how many times? Chris must have plugged. About 5 or 6. He had 5 or 6 plugs. It's not bad.
So I need to do 8.
You need to beat him.
But, join a brokerage, it's a cost-effective way of running an estate agency. Everybody else is absolutely laden with cost. And so I do feel for those people that, end up not paying themselves in order to pay their staff or to pay the Rightmove bill. And the toll that must take on you is terrible. And so I think there are probably a lot of people out there that can't focus on actually the holistic side of what we're doing here because of that cost basis. I also think there's a lot of people out there running independent businesses who have done the same thing for 20 years, who don't have a mentor. I don't actually advise people to go on LinkedIn because it's a terrible place to be.
But you're always on there. You're worse than me. I'm not.
I know, have a fucking day off. But don't go and try and seek any outside counsel, and don't try and educate themselves. And so they're just living the same day for the last 30 years, 20 years, day in, day out, and not innovating and not sticking their head above the parapet and thinking about what could be different and what could be better. And so I think those two groups, and again, they exist across every model. So I'm not just saying high street. I'm saying that people approach this from the way that we've done it for the last 20, 30 years and don't feel the need, desire, or give themselves the ability to innovate from that. That for me is dead and done.
Okay. Matt, traditional estate agency model. Dead, buried, broken, or absolutely there's an opportunity?
Yeah. What is the traditional estate agency?
I would say let's call it employed, building a team, a culture in any given location, for argument's sake.
No, I still think it's there. I think it has to be done differently. I think a lot of what Steph says is perfectly valid and true and does make a lot of sense.
Can I get that?
That's a crap start. I'm going to be in commisery in a second if you carry on the way you are.
I will upset her now because I don't think everybody is built to be self-employed.
Why? Why? Let's start that subject.
Well, just because I wanted to see that reaction. I've just got 5 things in my head that I can say. If I don't know what else to say,
I'll cue you on the next force.
Just throw one of them bombs in.
Throw one in.
But just watch me get Scouser as well. The more
But do you mean that as in you don't think everyone's built to be self-employed?
Yeah, I do. I think the way the world is going is because, I don't think it's ever been easier to be self-employed. Yes, you can do a brokerage or even around. As long as you've basically got access to the internet nowadays, a mobile phone and a camera, you can, and actually not just in agency, in any walk of life, you can create your own business. But I do think we've got kind of gone from one needle to the other. We've almost gone to kind of vilifying people to the extent that are employed, that don't want to make that jump. And I get why a lot of people do it. So when and just I suppose balance, I'll mention EXP and KW. There's other things out there. When they first came out,
2 very, very good models, by the way. Steph, what do you think?
What about? Sorry.
No, there you go. She won't listening. I said they're 2 very good models, by the way. Go on.
I think that their playbook was basically they're coming out and obviously they're on the recruitment drive, and they're almost like you're lazy, you're scared. If you don't become, but then it's like, well, where did it stop? Because so you can become self-employed and say to the employed person, well, okay, you're too scared to do it. And I'd be like, well, actually, I'm self-employed, but I employ people. So, or I've got an office. You're too scared to take the office. You're too scared to employ people. And then the person with 3 branches can come, and then, God forbid, it ends up with bloody Paul Smith at heart. You can say, well, I'm technically self-employed. You don't ever give that guy any fucking credit. So
he's going to be on next, actually, if I want. But no.
But that's fine. So I suppose everyone's always got their own angle and their own agenda as to why they're trying to push things. I think there are people, maybe of a generation upwards still, shall we say, that have just grown up, been taught that safety net, and we can argue again, well, your safety net really isn't there because someone could decide to make you redundant tomorrow. But there is a generation of people that have been brought up thinking that there is a safety net of being employed. They know what they're getting paid. They know that pays for the week's holiday to Mallorca. They're happy with life, and there's a lot to be said about just being happy.
Yeah.
And you can be happy running your own business. And, Steph's idea of happiness can be different to mine, and mine can be different to yours. And I just think that's okay.
Yeah.
But I do think there are a lot of employed agents there that do really good work, do it for the right reasons, don't get the credit they deserve. And like everything, the only news that's ever publicised is bad news, right? The bit that kind of I found a bit disappointing about the whole the Panorama programme.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't surprised by what I saw. I think we could have seen a lot worse. I was surprised by how many estate agents remembered they've got LinkedIn. Because you never see actual estate agents there.
More passionate about
being passionate
that.
about agency and celebrating, saying this is how we do things. And actually, as to Steph's point about learning, go and get a mentor. But really, mentors are all around now. We live in an age where access to information has never been so available. So I use the phrase, it takes a village to build to raise a child, right? And I think the agency community can do that. So I actually think the way we make things better is from inwards and from the ground up, by agents sharing best practice. But they don't do that. But then when the Panorama program comes on, they want to turn up and be holier than thou. And I'm like, great, you've learned how to log into LinkedIn. Now use that to actually say some good stuff and share best practice.
If we could just talk, though, about the whole not everyone should be self-employed. So I come at this from a
So are
place
you saying,
of,
let's get back to that question?
Yeah. I come from a place of thinking that phrase is used incorrectly.
Okay.
So I believe the phrase should be, not everybody is willing to generate themselves leads.
Okay.
That's that bit. Totally agree that some people want a job, want to clock out at
specific.
5:30, want to stop thinking about whatever they've done in the day, get on with their own lives, are happy with the wage they've got, and so on and so forth. The problem, though, is that the vast majority of people are sat there not happy with the wages they're getting paid, and they're working past 5:30 even though they're not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And actually, the line is, you could be self-employed as long as you're willing to generate yourself some leads. And that's actually the party line. So there's a load of people there that go, it's self-employed, it's not for everybody, so on and so forth. Actually, there's just a bunch of people there with a chip on the shoulder. They almost think they're too good to get out there and knock doors and have conversations. But it's actually not that they think they're too good. It's because they're scared.
Yeah. It's a deep-rooted thing.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's okay.
Well, it is okay. It is okay.
But acknowledge, because you can grow from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, but not everybody has to go, some people can just say, I really like my life. They don't have to.
No, but this is for the ones that don't know. Because how many people moan about wages?
Oh,
in
yeah,
estate
sure.
agency?
But then that's like anything in life. You either change it or shut up moaning.
I'm going to move that
the-
around just so we catch it.
And it's not, and sometimes I don't think they're necessarily, the moan. It's like we're digging and trying to find the moaners.
Yeah.
Believe them, because it's your, what's it like, the comfort zone is the worst place to be, right?
Yeah.
So, and people are always, I always call it your unhappy comfort zone. So people will be unhappy with their comfort zone, but they're not unhappy enough
To leap.
actually to go to leap and move it.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you have it in personal relationships, you'll have someone will moan about their boyfriend or girlfriend all the time, but they never actually win it. But once something really goes wrong, then they are willing to leave.
Yeah.
And that's just what you kind of get with jobs as well. Something sometimes has to go wrong for them. Sometimes a redundancy will push them. Sometimes being overlooked for promotions will push them. Or sometimes they'll just see out their 40 years, 50 years, whatever, employed, and that's their lot. But they're okay with that.
I think if you feel happy that you're earning, learning, or preferably both, stay employed, for sure.
Don't leap.
No. If you're earning and learning, or either or, that's a worthy position to be in. But if you're not, then you should leap.
Just out of curiosity, how many sort of agents would you talk to that are employed in a state agency? Is your model recruiting experienced only, or do you take people from outside the industry in?
The overwhelming majority have experience.
Okay. So let's say you talk to 10 agents with experience. They're all maybe learning and earning, or they're in that space where they've got a bit of comfort going on. How many actually go, do you know what, I'm going to do this and take the leap?
Well, when I speak to them, 99%.
She's got a great conversion rate, you see. There's the difference. That's one for Chris. Chris, what's your conversion rate on the agents that you speak to? But
no, I think for a lot of people, look, there's a lot of people out there that are exploring, and there's a whole host that just aren't.
Yeah.
I think they're probably scared of even having
I was
the
wondering
conversation.
how long does it take for them to make a decision?
God, I've had
Is it
people
a
make
year,
a decision
2 years,
in
3
48
years?
hours, and I've had people take 8 months.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing I would say to anybody is have the conversation, even if you absolutely hate the idea of it. Because as long as you can put that to one side and go, no, it wasn't for me, you might not sort of miss out on coming in now ahead of the curve.
How can you decide on what you don't know?
100%, absolutely. But we kind of love living in absolutes, I think, in estate agency.
Yeah.
But no, I think the vast majority of people that go and have the conversation is because they're starting to feel uncomfortable, or feel like they're undervalued, or feel like there's no growth, or feel like there's no flexibility. And particularly for women, they're trying to maybe re-enter the workforce after having kids, and there's this rigid structure in place. They've got to be here from here till here, and that just doesn't work when you've got children. And so I think it is more of a case of when I take the leap now for a lot of people, rather than do I at all.
And it's a bit of social proof as well, right? Because
Yeah.
like, so to a certain extent, and I'm not just trying to say this to wind you up, are you benefiting a bit from EXP's success in recruiting because it's been highlighted how many people have done it? So now other people think, well, actually, if they've done it, I can probably do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. EXP is like a second coming of Purple Bricks.
Well, I was going to ask you that. It feels like Purple Bricks led the way on the self-employed model in some ways.
I think, there were other models before, and look, Keller Williams, great example, has been here for 15 years now, if we're being honest. But Purple Bricks really brought to the forefront of the industry that self-employed is an option.
Yeah.
And then EXP took all the Purple Bricks people and launched, and then gathered more, and they have gathered momentum. And regardless of what people think about EXP,
what do they think about EXP?
Well, there's a massive range of opinions, but I think what a juggernaut of a business.
Was it 600, 700, 800?
Yeah, I believe so.
Agents.
In such a short space of time.
But in one way, it does a positive thing by seeing that awareness piece that you're talking about. But on the other hand, could you argue that when something goes at speed like that, there's a lot of things that can get destroyed? So, for example, I wonder what the rate of retention of agents.
I'd imagine it's poor.
Yeah,
but I'd imagine that isn't a KPI within their business that they care about.
No,
because it is the churn. The more agents that join.
I think Adam said on the podcast at the beginning of this. It's probably no dissimilar to an employed model's retention rate if you looked at it, but I wasn't too sure about that. But that seems to me like the challenge. It's now you've got the awareness out there, and there is, is it a case now that because in traditional estate agency, if you like, and sorry to put you in that sort of category, Matt, but you probably hire against the other agents in the area. There's probably an element whereby you're competing for new talent potentially. And is that now the case in the self-employed model where actually you're picking off agents that are working in the self-employed space already? So they've already made a decision to go self-employed. So the big decision's already been made. It's just actually I'm not really that enamoured with where I am. Is it becoming more competitive within that space?
No, I think there's an element of that. I think that not a lot of people take the big consideration when they make the leap, right? The big consideration should be, who do I want my business partners to be? Not splits and all of these sorts of things. So sometimes people aren't going to make that decision correctly because they actually don't know what type of self-employed agent they are or what business they want to build at the point. It's just a fucking don't want to be employed anymore and let me go. So there'll be a small portion of that. And of course that will grow over time. And in 5 years, will it be a very competitive brokerage swap type scenario? I would imagine so.
So that's what's gone on in other countries, isn't it?
100%, absolutely. I think at the moment, there's a whole host, and I would say probably the majority of people working in estate agency don't know really about this, in honesty, or don't believe that this is a place that they can jump to. And I do think a lot of that is around living paycheck to paycheck. They just don't think it's a possibility for them. But it is the smaller proportion swapping from brokerages. There's a whole host of people out there that we can go and try and rob.
I was going to say spoken as a perfect Liverpudlian there, but no, the serious point though is the self-employed space is highly competitive. The traditional space is highly competitive, but are you seeing people, Matt, come out of self-employed going into employed because it's just not worked out? Thanks very much.
Yeah, I think so. I actually have a concern with two things, and I think Steph agrees with that. I think for the purposes of conversation, we're using the phrase self-employed, but I don't actually believe in I think you should be creating business owners.
Yeah,
and I
know like business partners as well, because effectively that's what you're offering.
So I'm probably not that glamorous because I bang on about lettings a lot. I actually don't think you own a lot unless you own a lettings business.
Agreed.
Yeah. So that's just the way I go, and I get some other models have like revenue share or shares and all that kind of stuff, but shares can go up and go down and never come back up again. I've never known a lettings book to not be worth money. So that's the thing I would say. If anyone's thinking about going self-employed, because if you go truly self-employed, you've just got a job, but you've got to pay yourself, right? So that's the bit you don't want to get into. So look at the kind of letting side of things. My concern in the early days with it all was, so someone's brave, they take the leap, they come out of employment, they become self-employed. It doesn't work out. As a country, as a nation, and also as estate agents, we don't then go, oh, John, that's a shame it didn't work out. Here, come back to your job. We go, wanker, we knew that would never work, because we don't celebrate people that try things here. So my concern was actually we were going to have really good agents leaving employment, trying the self-employed route, it not working out, and then them being almost too embarrassed to go back into employment.
Leaving the industry.
So leaving them, right? So they go into recruitment, or they go into, so I've never met a recruitment agent that isn't an ex-estate agent. The King, Josh Rayner included. And so that's the bit. But I also don't think we see, so we obviously see the head count, we see celebrating 700 with, and we'll see every time, we saw obviously with TA UK merging with the agency, and we see how that goes. But nobody ever goes, oh, but this person's left, that person's left. And so I see it because I see the open to works come back on. I see the new positions because my connections generally are actual estate agents. So I kind of see that. But you don't really ever get anyone going, oh, hey, I've left. And so, you'll never know that kind of number. My belief, and it's only a belief without, and the fact is there's a chasm. I think there's some agents, some self-employed agents earning phenomenal money, doing really well. And then there's a massive gap and some really not doing any well. And there isn't kind of loads that are still doing all right. I think it's either loads of money.
Well, because I suppose if you consider, like, most estate agents that are probably going to be brave enough to step into that model have a certain caliber about them, right? So they've got some experience. I'm saying that. Steph's just given me this look there, which is to say, no, it's definitely not the case. But might probably be a bit more general, but maybe they're earning 50, 60 grand a year as an agent, employed. To then go out of that safety net, and then if you work backwards from what you've got to give away and what you've got to, how you've got to operate net and all your costs around what you would associate with running your own business, it's a tall order in year one, isn't it? I would say.
Well, the bulk of your earnings are coming months 9 through 12.
Yeah.
Unless you take advance commission through TA UK, of course.
We might talk about that in a minute.
So yeah, I think people need to be. In reality, you should match your regular earnings from employment in banked earnings, but it'll come at the tail end of year one. I think that is a really honest and a place of reality to sit in. Year two, though, is when you start to see that take off, and it can take off dramatically. And I do see, obviously I can only talk about TA UK, but I do see more people earning life-changing money than not. But it is year two and year three onwards, of course. I think, and again, this for me is about the company that you choose to partner with. What is their goal? Are they agent collection? Because the chances are, if they're a recruitment business, I would chance, unless you are the strongest of operators, coming in with a whole host of leads, ready to list, you're possibly going to struggle. And year two success might become end of year two into year three. And that journey to comfort takes a lot longer. There are other brokerages that are very much around getting agents to be as productive as possible, as quickly as possible, to get that end result as quickly as possible. And I always say, it's not necessarily going to be the most talented people that earn the most money. It's the ones with the grit and the ability to ride through the hard times. But if you are very talented or medium talented, but you want to do a very, very great job for your clients and earn well from it, partnering with the correct brokerage can see that success come in at that end of year one versus further down the line. So I think it's about, hedging your bets. Where do you think you're going to have that support? And if honestly you don't need any of that support, well, do join one of the recruitment ones, and
I think it's
where you are.
So that support thing, but I think you have to look at what support network they've got at home also. So we're saying let's say 9 to 12, a year before you're going to start banking any real money, right? We know agents, just by our very nature, we don't like waiting. We like going out with the shiny things, with the quick stuff. So if you're not doing it as an employee, you've got to make sure, you've got to do it if you're going to be self-employed. So it's also about who you've got at home, because again, if you're going out and you've got your husband or your wife at home and they're used to a certain way of living, and all of a sudden you can say, look, we're going to have to cut that back for a short term pain for the long term gain. But we've spoken to people in the past where they just haven't had that home. Like we have a couple of partner agents. We've got a father and son over in northwest London, but it's them together, and maybe it's that family thing again. But one of them was employed for 35 years. So the dad, so he was kind of almost a bit reluctant to go. Something changed in his work, so he joined his son in the journey. But because they're there together, supporting each other, then even on they're doing very well. But even when they have those bad days, weeks, they're together. And I always think that's something. It's you've got to plan out. Can I afford to do this? But also what's going to go on at home.
It's one of the things that has surprised me most, right, in running a brokerage. But I'm also sat next to two business owners, right. The amount of people that a brokerage, low risk, right, low cost, big reward, just takes that time. The amount of people that expect it to happen overnight and go, actually, us kind of people, with no disrespect, we've taken humongous risk and stress, financial implications, things that we haven't probably been able to do until much further down the line that we'd like to. And you say to somebody joining a brokerage, it's just 12 months. Like, you're not going to be going to Vegas this year. But the things that you can be doing, which are going to change your life next year, but people are so short-sighted and won't give it just that.
Is that one of the biggest challenges?
It's one of my biggest frustrations. I feel like, you cheeky bloody bastards.
You expect the moon on a stick.
Yeah.
Who gets to start a business for free?
I hope you don't mind me saying, we were chatting on the way over. We happened to grab a Costa.
Yeah, by the way, guys, if you're a self-employed or personal estate agent, don't be shopping at these.
No.
Yeah. It's your local baristas that you need to support.
Totally. There was none around here. Starbucks didn't even have the bloody coffee machine working. But anyway, but the point I was making is you've 5 years at the end of this year for TA UK. And Matt, how long for you?
About 14.
14 years.
Yeah.
Is it easier now than
it's like 14?
But is it easy? How is running a business 14 years in?
Listen, I think you're dealing with humans, right? And so there's always going to be different things. So last year we dealt with things. My team went through. Varying members went through. That I was like, look, where's the fucking book to how to deal with that one? And you don't know because you're dealing with them. That it's their lives. You do care for them. Even in the brokerages, I'm sure there'll be some brokerages that have a mentor, and there'll be some that just take it on with it. There'll be somewhere that people really look after them, and I know you'll kind of take you take some of their pain and their frustrations on board a bit. So it's changed. I think you just learn to go, okay.
Have you learned the fact is business is not fucking easy at any level, really?
It's different because it's all levels, right? So you'll get to a certain level and then you'll plateau for a bit, but then you get frustrated in yourself because you want to do more, and then so it's like climbing, isn't it? You'll climb a bit and then you can sit and have a rest, but then you come in and it gets steeper and steeper. Do you? Sorry, I'm
just going to pick on this just for a sec. As running a traditional business is costing a lot more money, which it is right now. And let's be honest, whether you like Labour or Conservative or whoever you vote for, they don't really want entrepreneurs to succeed or business owners. They absolutely hate people that make their own way in life and are penalising them at the cost of everything, really, in my opinion. The small business economy, medium-sized business economy is the economy, and they're robbing the profits out of them and putting them into a place where you might as well just burn cash tomorrow, the public sector. But the point I'm making is that once upon a time, you must have thought about building a valuable business, which is why you went into lettings.
Sure, yeah.
And you've done all of those different things and you're making all of this.
That's why you went into estate agency.
Well, estate agents were worth something a little while back. Now it's just 75% of your pipeline of fees or maybe a bit of goodwill on your listings. There ain't a lot of value from a long-term building perspective. Yeah. But with the costs going up and up and up, I nearly forgot my point there, but have you considered what this lady's doing and thought, we need to fucking change this because this is just not sustainable, it doesn't deliver what we need as a business to function? Or are you kind of like, no, we're just going to stay in our lane, make it work? What are your thoughts?
So we've never stayed in our lane, so we're fairly...
You're flexible.
We're flexible. I suppose we're fairly unique in most of the stuff we do. So we've got what you'd call the core agency, sales, then we went into lettings.
Yeah.
We were one of the first in HMO management, so we own the HMO networks like the Guild or the FIA, but for HMO agents. So
That's really good.
And then we do have a part. The agency is my kind of core focus, right? And I employ people, and so I have a responsibility to them to keep them fed. Right? They've got to feed themselves, but we'll bring leads in for them. So we explain to them. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you got your fingers in a lot of pies." I say, "No, it's one pie with a lot of pieces." Yeah, and that's it. I love agency, so I don't do agency for the money. If I wanted to do something really for the money,
you wouldn't be an estate agent.
You wouldn't be in
Can we all amen that one just for a second?
I just think that's it. I think
unless you join a brokerage,
that's why I think you'll find lots of people that be agents for 5 or 10 years. I've been an agent for 24 years. You're not an agent for 24 years unless you really love it.
Unless you're a sadist.
Yeah. Unless you're just highly unemployable.
No one else wants you.
No one else wants you. You can't do any other job. We look at it, but I just look at people. So we're speaking to a guy at the minute. He's got his own agency. He needs help. He needs some new branding. So we can convert him that way. I say I've got Joe and Lionel over in North West London. They wanted to leave employment. They've been following me on LinkedIn for 2 years. They came to me and said, "We love you. We'd like to work with you."
Yeah.
Great. Let's work together. So, and any time I do employ anybody, I say to someone very naively, I expect us now to be together for the rest of our lives, because you've come in as an employee. You can go through the general, manager, senior, But if you want to own your own business, we can do that together. And I think that's where the world's changed.
We're in that point.
You do that, right? And so you can be more flexible. So you can be an agency owner and just have flexibility to work with people in the parameters that it works for both of you.
Yeah.
Me and Neil have never been one of these to be like, we're just a state. Neil doesn't even. I mean, Neil's he considers himself a business owner. I always go, I'm an estate agent. I'm an estate agency owner. I've still got that ingrained in me. Don't get me wrong. On the letting side of things, property management.
But you were the founder, though. Right?
Neil's phenomenal. So. No. Like, I'm the founder of the board. I'm the older one, so I'm the boss. But that's just the way he looks at it. It's like we're business owners. It just happens to be the business of agency. But
what I'm getting at, sorry, Steph, I'm going to come to you in a sec. But as a business owner, which I am, in terms of, I do dabble in estate agency here and there because it's hard not to, because of your connections and your relationships that you've built over, for me, 29 years. Now, your cue at that point is to say, that's the one. There you go. Can we click that one? But the point I'm making is that you have to think openly about the future. And actually, the bit that I liked about what you said is, who are you in business with? Because for me, if you're in a business with someone, you got to trust them. Yeah. Like, you got to feel like there's a win-win. There's a way forward. And I like what you're talking about with flexibility. So what you're saying to people is, look, there's no glass ceiling. Come with us and we can figure it out as we go. And what you're saying is we're not just a brokerage, we're your business partner. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of people now that are wearing that really heavy cost base. That means they can never get past that sort of one branch location or employing that next member of staff in order to grow. And options like yours, options like, everybody's around this table kind of goes, look, there's everybody's aware of how expensive it is to run an estate agency business. Now you have other options where you can still be, where you can still be the master of your own destiny, but then bring in some other people so it isn't all on your shoulders.
Yeah, for sure.
We always say, like, treat us like your board.
Yeah.
We've each got a specialism and bring us in to help you in that piece.
I think that bit is the bit that takes the loneliness away from a self-employed perspective.
Well, yeah.
Because you can be on your own and you're at home doing it or whatever else. Yeah. And you do need other people around you.
You do. I always say you can't even high-five yourself, right? So even if it's going well...
or the dog.
Luckily, there is this dinner that happens once every couple of months in central London.
And what dinner's that, Matthew?
It's ran by a couple of brothers. And it's
Chris Buckler's one that he was inviting me to earlier.
Oh, yeah, no, not that one. Yeah, he was on the phone to me about that earlier. He goes, I'm not competing with you. I was like, no. So we run a dinner for agents. It started as agents owners. We've opened up to just agents. It's still only agents owners to come. But we have, Chris Buckler has been, we have EXP, we have KW, and we have high street agency owners. You come, there's no sales, no suppliers, no speeches, no agenda, 3-course meal, and just chat. And it is sometimes that it's lonely at the top of things. You could just have a chat with people. But just quickly, you kind of half jokingly said, when Steph was saying about how expensive it is to run an agency, or the public don't know, I don't think a lot of employees know either.
No.
And actually, I think...
Do you know what? I was writing a piece about this, but I had to really think carefully about how I put it, because in the nicest possible way, you know, the cost of setting up a business now, I can't remember who posted it. It might have been like a Rupert Lowe or someone who's got quite strong opinions, but when he described the journey of setting up a business, and by the time you've set it up, if you've still got the will to live, then taking it forward and then hiring people. I nearly wrote a post about the fact that if you're employed by a small, medium-sized business, you do need to show up and be grateful, because there's a lot that's gone into getting you there in the first place. Sorry, Matt.
No, that's right. And also it is because, you know, if I wanted to, I could probably go, I'll blow this. I'm sure I could come to Steph and go, look, can we convert into like the TA UK and XP and stuff like that. So, and I'm not going to do it, but employers, I'm not going to have a hissy fit with my team, but yeah, no. I do think the team need to understand. But I actually meant more to the point, if you want to talk about fees, it's you should know your costs. You should know how much it costs you to sell a house. I don't think a lot of independent agents know that themselves. No. But actually explain that to your team. So, you know, and because, you know, look, you know, it costs this for photos, this for sales progression, but you do know that computer uses electric. You know what you see in your wage slip, I have to pay extra. You know that pension. And actually, if you explain to people, you know, so we've raised our minimum fee recently, and I said to the guys, actually, it costs us this much to even sell a house to break even. Yeah. Me and Neil only get paid out of profit. We'd like a little bit. Yeah. And so, you know, so by the time I've done this, your commissions, this is what we need to charge. And when you do explain it, I think actually then they understand a bit more, and then they're going out and charging the fees. And
essentially that could be the future of what is now traditional agency, right? In that if people feel a part of something, why would they look at TA UK? Yeah. Right? If they are really invested in, you know, let me not just come and collect a check at the end of the month. Let me be involved in making this something we can all be proud of. That, I think, that's exciting.
Well, I totally agree. I'm going to take you on to another subject. Commisery. Great marketing.
We've been too friendly.
Or that was if it's not going very well. No, I'm only joking. But no, it's an interesting one, because we all sat there probably, was it 8-9 years ago? I'm guessing. I don't even know now. But
probably 9.
Let's say commisery was everywhere, literally in the public's eyes. Great marketing. What would you say, from your experience, was what you took away from it? What was your kind of overview from being in the business at that time, and how that helped or didn't help?
My viewpoint was, and always will be, and actually when I reference Purple Bricks, I am talking about PB in its original format. I have no idea what on earth it is right now. Yeah. So I'm probably talking about the years of, 2014 through 2017. Commisery said, if you're not going to get anything better, don't pay more. Yeah. And I think it's one of the best things to happen to a estate agency.
Yeah. No, I'm listening.
I think, and I say this all the time, I don't believe a great estate agent lost a great listing to Purple Bricks. Now, a great listing, if you went out, saw the client, they chose to go with Purple Bricks, and you're running a conventional agency, that wasn't your client anyway. And that's why there will be another incantation of a PB style scenario at some point. Somebody will have a go. There's Yopa still doing fixed fees, all those sorts of things. Let those clients have at it. Let those agents have at it. We are serving the other 95% of the market now that really want to pay a great fee for a great service. And I think Purple Bricks has helped us all get there.
I've got to say, personally, I've shared before that I actually think it was a great thing for the industry, because in the nicest possible way, as it was actually quite funny, in my opinion. I found it quite hilarious, but because the take on it just suited the general perception of what estate agents are doing, and they're not worth the money.
Yeah, which we didn't need.
No, but the problem is the industry's at fault, not Purple Bricks.
Yeah, but if Purple Bricks, I don't know, I found it fucking insulting. I
Did you really?
Yeah. But it's not just, so I don't have any issue with the model whatsoever. The Purple Bricks I don't go on valuations against Purple Bricks or Yopa. Yeah. It's the dickhead down the road doing 0.75% that's got his office, and they're the biggest problem for fees, right?
Yeah.
But again, that goes back to sharing. So I always maintain the best way for me to increase my fee is to help my competitors in the town increase their fees.
Yeah.
That's why I always share best practice and things like that. I took Easy Property. They did it. Do you remember Easy Property?
Yeah.
The funeral procession down the high street.
Yes. Yeah.
So that
really, was hilarious.
That really pissed me off. And then I think I was even employed. I can't remember at the time with I just felt I get what you're doing, and like Quirk used to do it as well when Quirk had
we loved
when
it.
Had E-Move, right? He was just getting his high street, and there's never an easier sell than I'm going to destroy the high street agent. Yeah. And I used to roll my eyes and go, Quirk needs more money, right? And he used to, and I've had that chat with him, and it is interesting. I will quickly say that you've got now Russell Quirk, Adam Day, Steph
have moved away from that.
All saying charge proper fees, do proper jobs. But again, it was the fees never an issue. I just found there were people out there working their asses off for not enough money that they should have got. And then you go home, you put on the TV, and there's a caricature of yourself. Yeah. And it's kind of taking the piss out. And then you've got people go, and you say it plays what the public thinks. So we're all saying, let's change the public perception. And then there was someone, so you're an estate agent and you're not an estate agent. And the thing for me was, I didn't think that it really was agency. They shouldn't have been allowed in Rightmove, yada, yada, yada.
So do you know what? When I started Gigs & Co, I was at Countrywide running a tailor's area. I was an area manager, director. She would have loved me back then with my tie and I'd never wore a waistcoat. But anyway, but I knew that I needed to do something different because that's why I was leaving what I deemed as a company first model. So, it was sell packages, sell this, sell that, sell conveyancing, which takes longer for the process to go through and everything else. And it was just didn't fit with me. And I thought I'm going to go. So the first thing I did before I left is I had a couple of things which were really useful for me. One was speaking to clients that had instructed estate agents and asked them what was important to them, what they didn't like, what they did like, and really build my proposition around the opposite end of the scale. So how do I be the opposite of a normal estate agent and so on and so forth? But for me at that point, I think when the purple bricks sort of thing was going off, the only thing I thought at the time was I thought, yeah, they've exposed the lack of ability and service in the industry, not for everyone, but for a large majority, because I don't think many estate agents are actually worth 1%. And correct. I mean that in a basis that if you go into an office, an estate agency, and say, how are you getting on with Steph and Andrew's property at the minute? How are they getting on? Well, why hasn't it sold? And I know what they'll say. It's because of the price. And why is that? Because we were getting no leads from Rightmove. And you think, well, Purple Bricks came in and they listed on Rightmove. They've done all of those things which I think exposed the estate agents for not being real estate agents.
Absolutely. And I think, having come through the Purple Bricks journey and now in what I call personal estate agency, I think it's been an absolutely brilliant eye-opener to what clients want and where clients find value, because I very incorrectly joined Pebble Bricks excited about introducing this piece of technology, thinking they're going to get really involved in their sale and they're going to love to see these stats and get instant feedback. Not one person was, maybe one person was interested. What a load of shit. Yeah. But you have to go through that iteration of we don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? But let's look, technology's on the rise. Can we introduce that in part into the seller's journey? Actually, we've tried that. No one give a shit. What did they really like about Purple Bricks, though? Yeah. Well, they loved meeting Steph. And they loved Steph doing the viewings. Yeah. And they loved that Steph would not be in the office handing keys over, that Steph would meet them at the property on completion and take the keys and hand them over. And I think that's what's led us to now in terms of EXP being able to come over and do what Keller Williams never were able to with an American model. Brokerage, obviously growing from that perspective. Personally, I'm a huge advocate for personal agency, not just self-employed. And what that is all doing is carrying on that trend of what Purple Bricks explored. And now I think bringing the great conventional agents along for the ride and giving us all space to go, we can charge more. I have gone back to selling some houses because I now live back in the village I grew up in. I've seen some of the pictures, in the kitchen. Bloody love a marketing video, mate. Great. And there's a great estate agency in my town who rebranded, have gone all bespoke, are doing the kind of cinematography, all of those sorts of things. They were charging less than 1%. Then they were charging 1%. So our market leaders 2 of them, they've got over 65%, they charge 0.7 and they'll do it for 0.5. Ridiculous. So this guy was already more expensive. And I said, you've got to up your fees because you are winning stuff from me that I don't want at 1%. Make it harder. Like, I'll do 1.5, you do 1.25. Went in, because I was collecting keys for one of my sellers that bought through them. Chinwag, he went, I'm charging 1.25 now. And I'm like, yes, I'm 1.5. But let's do this together. Let's absolutely be the most fucking expensive agents we possibly can because we deliver something so wholeheartedly different and meaningful. It's great. It's exciting.
And I think on the fees subject, because I love that passion. And Matt, you know, the reason why you're here today, because I look up to you as well.
The reason why you've been dragged up here. Are you going to have value at some point?
No, I didn't want you to think it was...
Nobody else would come on against you, Steph.
I got through 11 people that all said no after the first question they always ask, which is who am I up against?
He asked Simon Gates. Simon Gates thought it would be funny to go and get Baldock.
But what I was going to ask you though, Matt, because you've got this passion, right? Yeah. And this standard. Where does that come from? Because I think if you could... That's the bit that I don't think enough estate agents had during that period.
I probably don't know where it's come from. I only learned to verbalise it probably during the pandemic or maybe after that. So my belief is genuinely that agency is a privilege to do, right? I think that houses... I don't really like houses. I'm not that... I've seen loads of kitchens and landings and hallways and stuff like that, but I've never met the people. And so houses are just a vehicle for people's life story. And I see it as a huge privilege that I get to be a part of that life story. So I love stories, right? My mum hates my stories because they generally involve me getting drunk and something funny happening. So I've got pins in my ankle from retirement Spain. I'm not really sure how it happened. I say, well, it's a story. When you go, you want people to be able to talk about you. My mum hates the stories. But aside from that, I love stories. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear about that. And I want to help you. And so for me, and it might be a bit perverse, but the best houses I sell are the ones where people, sadly, they've lost someone or they're getting divorced and they're going through their hardest times because that's when you actually get to make the biggest difference. Now, don't get me wrong, the fun times where people are having babies, upsizing, that's all good. But something really great's happening or something really shit's happening in someone's life and you get to be a part of it. And that, just for me, I think is a huge honour. Yeah. Someone said to me on LinkedIn, well, if you cared that much, you'd be a doctor. And I was like, well, I hate needles. So that's like...
I was talking with Claire Yates and Chris Buckler earlier on. And I believe to be a great agent, it's a vocation. It's something that you've just got to, because it is. I mean, you do some funny stuff about how hard it is. And it's so true because that you are all things to all people much of the time. And you have to be, I think people first. It's the property bit's nice if you like that sort of stuff. But you've got to genuinely give a shit.
If you look at
you can't teach people to care.
Our website homepage is people first, then property.
Yeah.
I've never known anything where
I got that in there.
Well, thank you.
That's all right.
Where you'll meet somebody and within 5 minutes of meeting them, they'll tell you their whole life story, the fact the husband's cheated on them, so-and-so's this, so-and-so's dying, and you're like, we haven't even had a cup of tea yet. But they just, for some reason, open
Spill
up
the
to
guts.
And so, for instance, when we're booking valuations, I won't have probate. Probate means someone's fucking died. Right? Someone's not going to see their dad again, see their son again, see their mum again. Divorce. Kids aren't going to live with their parents anymore. So it's not just write that on a sheet and go around there and do it. And so when we come, when I list a property, yes, I'll obviously tell the team what the kind of property is, but then I also tell them the seller profile, tell them why the seller's moving and what we need to do. And that's the bit you need to get out.
That's really interesting. And I actually think this goes towards the whole strategy of being able to sell the house for the best price the market will allow. So one, imagine how many underqualified people are going out and having those conversations in people's living rooms, and somebody does offload and that person has absolutely no idea how to even have that conversation. So there's that bit. But also, how many homes go to market? Because I am actually also a bit obsessed with the property as well. I like the mixture. Because the first thing I think when I sit down is, who's buying this? Who is this for?
Your brain's
and that's
whirring.
how the video is stylized to sell that lifestyle and so on and so forth. But how many properties just go to market? And not only have we not cared or understood what the seller's going through, we haven't even thought about the buyer. We've just put some numbers on something and taken some photos and been like, meh.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a great sound. That for me depicts shit estate agency.
Yeah. And then that's because.
Do you think, Matt? Sorry. Do you think that the amount of agents out there is going to shrink with the advent of AI, automation, technology, but the quality of the agents and then the fees will improve.
So I'm excited for AI to come in and everyone's like, take people's jobs away. It's not. It's going to empower you to have better and longer conversations. So I was chatting to one of my property managers the other day and I was briefly talking about AI and she was a little bit worried. And then she was on the phone about 15 minutes to one of our landlords, really nice call. And I said, and she's like, that's the best bit of my job. I said, do you have time to do that with every single one of our landlords? She said, no, probably not. I said, well, imagine if you didn't have to chase a gas safe anymore, you didn't have to book this, didn't have to do that. All you had to do was that.
Yeah.
And I actually think, really going into the future, that we're going to miss human interaction because I think you're going to phone up, and restaurants are already doing it, right? You don't speak to a real person there. And anything you see on a screen, you're not going to know is that really Matt Giggs or is that his AI twin. So actually sitting in a living room and being able, touch might be a bit weird, but being able to actually kind of know that someone's there.
It's all right, Matt.
And I think people will pay more for that. So actually I think your fees can go up because you can say, and I think agents will end up having two services really. I think it'll be like, this is this one and everything's going to be automated, especially in the lettings world. Maybe everything's but if you actually want an expert with all this to sit in your living room and guide you through it all, then the fee's going to go up there, and that's where I think it will. Yeah,
because you hear people talking about sort of AI, and they're imagining there's going to be like an army of robots going around valuing people's houses. All the crap that takes away from the human element of the job can be dealt with by a computer, and it's not the fun stuff. It's not the meaningful stuff. And I talk about brokerage giving people time and resource to spend that time and resource on somebody's moving home journey. Well, actually, so does AI. And, I feel that's where we talk about conventional, traditional agency. The bit for me that dies is corporate. Because AI...
I'd never have guessed that was your thought process. But why, though?
But AI is going to allow independent business owners to run that little more quickly at a lower cost base, so they have time and resource to plough into the stuff that's really meaningful. And, I see that in 5 years' time, 50% of transactions will have a personal estate agent attached, and a good or a huge overwhelming majority of the other 50% will be an independent, a more mom and pop style boutique, embedded in their community sense of agency. And I just love that.
I think tech's doing that all the time though. So if you think about like the old days where the corporates would win because they said, we've got offices in London, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, Rightmove came along.
Do you remember those pictures?
Yeah. And it leveled.
And the person in London's like,
Well, I worked for a corporate. We couldn't even log on to anybody else's system. So we could do it. Someone would come in your office. You'd have to pretend to be looking, and you were just getting like Rightmove up. And going, But then Rightmove leveled the playing field, and then social media has swung it. So I was speaking to someone the other day, and they were on with one of the Sequence group, or the Connors group, I suppose, they're now agents. She was like, oh, I thought they'd put it on their social media, but I've looked, they've only got 100 followers. I said, yeah, also the branch isn't allowed to do it. I was like, if I want to now, it wouldn't be very good, but I could sit down in the living room, go Facebook Live, so I can do it because I don't have to put it through all these different levels of clearance. So social media has already swung it in the independent or the personal agent's favour, and AI adopted well will just do the same.
And I think, if they're smart independent agents, the quality of their data is going to be better as well for nurturing forward, as opposed to, I can only imagine if you went into a large corporate at the minute, what the quality of that data looks like. It's almost not worth having.
Yeah.
But what AI won't ever, I don't think will be able to do is genuine empathy. And I think if you lead with empathy, that's the quality. As an agent, you need empathy. And when you're in someone's living room and you're not just going, oh yes, I'm really sorry that Frank's dead. They actually need to understand that you feel that and you kind of go for their emotion. And that's where people are so valuable. And we have to remember, we are, deep down in our brains, we're still cavemen and cavewomen. We still want that kind of human interaction, that human relationship. And that's not going to change. So I'm looking forward to it.
Are you?
Yeah.
More human stuff?
But I just think, look at the enjoyment.
Because you're getting less involved with all the bullshit. Or the admin and everything else.
Yeah.
And so do you think this is going to change the quality of who we can then attract?
Look, I think the big ticker, and money isn't everything, but I'd rather cry in a Porsche than on the bus.
I'd rather not cry at all.
Well, there is this. But look, I think we've been such a poorly paid industry for so long. Why on earth would we attract talent?
But are we poorly paid because we haven't been trained well enough, or the
No, it's the system.
It's just the system.
It's the system. The system's broken.
The commissary adverts.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's that purple
Bloody
bricks
Michael
lot,
Bruce.
isn't it? Yeah.
No, I think, look, money, brokerage, those sorts of things, better set up independents that have access to time and resource, that is going to start changing the tide on the sort of earnings that kind of gets eyeballs on us. Everyone I speak to that has been in a estate agency and left for a year and gone and done something else and been drawn back, it's like, it sucks you back in.
Yeah.
But there's so many people out there who haven't experienced that. I often laugh, you see people's job titles and you're like, what does your job actually
Give us the best one you've seen recently.
Oh, well, so there's loads of people that just do mad jobs, right? But the worst one in estate agency was applicant manager. Applicant manager.
Okay. So
Like,
managing the applicants.
Like,
Nice.
I hate it.
I can imagine.
But imagine if you now think that by year 2 of becoming an estate agent, you could be earning 200 grand. That's all of a sudden, and then people get in and go, "Fuck me, this is amazing."
And you're not dealing with loads
this.
of volume and everything else. You're
Just
able to
lovely clients, and because we can use social media, we're only attracting the clients that get you and what you do and why you do it. So.
Yeah,
you know,
and I know, because I do think the kind of the quality independent is a little bit stuck. Going back to the start of the conversation about the rising costs and stuff, I think to earn big money, you need to be a volume agent. Just list it, list 100 and you'll only sell 50, but you still sell 50.
Yeah.
Or that personal agents where you're going out, you're only doing a couple, but you charge big fees. And I do think the reason a lot of independents struggle is because they want to be qualities. They don't want to take on a lot of properties. They want to be quality, but they've got the huge overheads.
Yeah.
Whereas I do think
It's that stranglehold, isn't it?
So they're stuck in between both. They want to do the right thing, but they still have mouths to feed, etc., etc. I think AI will change that bit. I've had a chat with my sales team, and I've said, look, you don't need to worry, but I need to have you all more front facing, because actually booking viewings, you're not going to need. No one's going to need you to sit there and book a viewing anymore. You're going to be more valuable if people know who you are, going out, speaking to people. Almost you all need to be valuers, if you like.
But do you see that as a challenge moving forward with the type of people that are used to working in a certain way, whereby, we talked earlier about the security people, they don't really want to,
Yeah, no, and you will get some people.
Are they built to go and do those things?
To a certain extent, it's evolve or die, right? So you can only help people, but you can't do anything for them. Yeah. I think the bigger drawback, I think there'll be a lot of agency owners hearing that me say to people, I need you to build your personal brand, be that, think, oh no, but then they'll fucking leave. But then it's not difficult to let them leave, but stay with you, because you can say, well, you can open your own, and it's not even that treat them well enough, then everyone leaves. Say, cool, you've got such a personal brand, you should be your own boss. Yeah. Here's the Child David Castle franchise. Go and do it there, you see. So that's the way I see it.
Or find 200 grand for year 1 and all the best.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got, was it 49 regions covered now? Was it? I can't remember what you said. Sorry.
We're in 48 counties.
48 counties. So 48 counties. So if you go to TA UK, you get a county. Is that exclusive?
No, not a county. We believe in hyperlocal businesses. So people should be working in their local village or town. Okay. So is that like a number of chimney pots, people, population? Yeah, it's going to depend on market churn and those sorts of things. I say you should want to build a walkable business. Yeah. So I work in a village which is part of one postcode, L39. At the end of my road, there's a wine bar. Funny that. Do you do any deals in there? I swear to God, I walk in and if I don't book a valuation, it's because there's no one in there. Yeah. So I walk in and people, that's Steph the estate agent. I grab a coffee in the coffee shop next door. People know who I am. I could walk to most of my listings and that is absolutely brilliant. And that is a profitable business. Yeah. I do see that. So I actually don't really care about pie charts and all of that sort of stuff. But I feel that people are so desperate in a estate agency. We feel we need to cover this big old area to have a go at everything. So the opposite, isn't it? I have people, wanting to join TA UK and they're like, I want 3 postcodes. What? Why? Because they see that as easier, but it's actually fucking harder. Yeah, absolutely. Go around a really small, tight geographic area, particularly when you're doing low volume. You can't breed boards in the way that you used to when you listed 50 a month on the high street, right? So just make sure everybody in a walkable distance from your home knows that you're a great estate agent. Can I ask you though, because you've got 48. So we've got, when this goes live, probably over 230 partners. So over 230 partners.
what sort of accountability and control do you have over their, I don't know, their performance, their standards?
So there's no control in terms of performance, and that is one of the beauties of brokerage, right? People can build a business that suits them and their lifestyle. Again, I think everybody should work as close to home as possible and charge the biggest old fees, and what a great business to have, right? I think accountability really is, for me, one of the reasons that we are branded. One, I believe that the British public love a brand. We like to keep up with the Joneses, and a brand speaks to people that you don't know in a way about how you're going to act. And I think that's important, particularly when you're launching a business.
Yeah.
Accountability for me is we're only ever going to be as good as our worst business partner.
Yeah.
And so why are you joining TA UK? Why are you going self-employed? Why do you love helping people move home? That for me is the accountability bit, because if you come in with the right desire, and I might sound a bit all romantic and fluffy and not really Steph in that aspect, but coming in to do the right thing because you know by virtue of that you are going to probably change your life, which is great, but those two are symbiotic of one another, I think is the accountability bit. The accountability for me as an individual or us as a wider organisation, though, is, you know, if I put my head on the pillow at night thinking somebody's not going to be able to pay the mortgage, that doesn't sit well with me.
No.
In fact, it keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
So it's more around, I believe, my part in this, or TA UK's part in this, is being the very best business partner we possibly can. Is that tech? Yes. Is it support? Is it a concierge team? Is it being at the end of the phone at 8:30 at night just to have a chinwag with somebody? It's all of those things and probably more. But that's why it is a business partnership, because they're out there delivering this exceptional journey of moving home that people didn't even realise was a possibility.
Yeah.
And we're there to give them the time and resource to be able to do that.
So from your sort of perspective, Matt, when you go back to when you started, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Steph, in a sec. Why did you start your business, Matt? What was the big why for you? And I'll ask you the same, Steph.
No, mine isn't as great. Well, basically, I was employed. I was doing that typical, you know, I had to hit 10 listings a week. I'd done it by Wednesday so I could spend Thursday and Friday at the pub. I hadn't done enough mortgage. I was really good at conveyancing, really good, but I was shit at mortgages. And it was always never enough kind of thing. So
where was that?
I was at Heart.
Okay. Yes, of course it was.
I was at Heart. And I think it was that, well, the reason I got into agency was I thought it looked easy from the outside. So I became an employed agent. And then you assume I'm a really good lister, so I'll probably be a really good business owner. But you forget, business owning, you know,
it's a different job, isn't it?
Completely different job, yeah, completely different. But I, you know, over time, again, like I say, it's taken me longer to work out. Even so, we've got we have 6 core values in the business. We have our vision statement, we have our mission statement, and we probably only articulated them properly maybe 4 or so years ago, and got that. And now that is really ingrained. Like every Friday, once we've done our pizza lunches that Steph loves, you know.
Pizza lunches? Do you do a bottle of Prosecco and a bunch of flowers?
Last Friday of the month, we shut the office for an hour and a half and everyone comes and eats lunch together. I always say the family has to eat together, so the team will all come and eat together. But on the Friday, we do all send a chain email out saying how we've lived to at least 4 of our 6 core values that day. So just so the other departments know what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And so we try and kind of ingrain that. We finish our Monday morning meeting with Monday morning gratitude. We have to say what we're grateful for that day, so we can.
It's like the church at Baldock.
Kick the week off properly. Yeah, I know it's different. But we even make I know Steph will hate this, but we even make a little pledge though. So we like to know where we're going. I think it's easy to vilify KPIs, but I do think you can't build a house without any plans. So
hey, look, I say to everybody, you know, in my business, they've now got the most important boss of their life, and that's themselves and their family. So
Yeah, there's
it's
a
all
big.
For the clickbait.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. I just feel a bit. I mean,
he's rubbing his hands over there. He's got some good little clips today.
I just feel sorry for those poor area managers.
It's just so easy.
It's the commisery playbook, isn't it? Just adapted.
Do any of the area managers ever come to you and go,
no, but the branch managers
I was going to say it's below that, isn't it? It's that kind of below that.
Yeah, I'll go for MDs next. You know, I'm going to give everybody a fair shot.
But it's quite funny because we've all been in those environments. Heart, countrywide.
Yeah.
Before?
Yeah. Only lasted 3.5 years.
That's, mind you, that's quite long.
Probably is.
But But I do think that, I mean, what are your thoughts? Because Steph mentioned about the kind of corporate-y side of a estate agency, and obviously it's had a spotlight recently. And I think sometimes, you know, like you said, are you really surprised? Not really. Is conditional selling still going on? Yeah, I felt a little bit sorry for the branch manager, if I'm brutally honest.
Absolutely.
I thought, why are they on the fucking telly? And
I don't mean this tongue in cheek. She's probably one of the best bloody branch managers within that setup they've
Do-
got,
I
right?
put a
Tick, 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 tick,
Well,
tick of how good
I
she
read
is.
the reviews, and she's in
I
loads
know
of reviews.
somebody who knows her, and the person I know that knows her, I really, really rate. He's a really good guy, and he says he can't speak highly of her. Enough of her, sorry.
But the other thing is,
You don't want that.
Can't speak highly enough of her. Yeah, it's like to say. But sorry, Matt. But I think going back to the corporate, I think not enough people understand business models, right? So corporates aren't there to sell. Everyone gets told of mortgage. It's nothing to do with the mortgage. It's the critical illness and the life insurance, right? Well,
That's where the power notes
I
are.
worked for your move a long time ago, and I got told you're here to sell mortgages. Houses are a bonus. And I was like,
Byproduct.
I'm not very good at mortgages, so we're not going to last very long. But houses lead to mortgages. Mortgages lead to critical illness, life insurance, right? Purple Bricks. They weren't selling houses, they were selling share prices. There's never any time to, you know, that was all it was about, really. And then we're selling shares. And once you actually understand a business model, then you don't get as angry about it. Because I go, well, that's why they're doing that. That's why they're doing that.
but I find it funny that people do get angry about that sort of stuff, because at the end of the day, like, there's loads of virtue signalling going on, the likes of LinkedIn and stuff. But we all need to look at our own performances before we look outside.
But I also don't. I think we live too much in a world of, it has to either be good service or a referral fee. We take referral fees, but I live in an and world. So I'll have a good service and a referral fee.
Same.
I say this all the time. I absolutely believe a client should be paying to have the best property team working for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And if we can't direct to certain businesses, they're going to go and do that by themselves and make very, very poor choices.
You are literally saying this person's going to get the job done the way you want it to be done, and that's it.
What I don't get, though, is when somebody gets a referral fee and the transaction time is average 19 weeks or more, and you're like, even if you get 500 quid, that's not even a third of your flipping fee, and actually you're leaving so many fees on the table because time kills deals, and you've left everything to fall through.
So what market?
So can I just say, it's not even people not understanding business models, it's business owners not understanding their own business model.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with that. But I do feel like you said, that corporate machine is for critical and life insurance. 100%. We all know that. We've all seen the average case sizes and everything else. And look, that's part of life, right? You're going to need it, but it's whether you're getting the right advice. But coming back to where the opportunity is for your style of company, where do you see the opportunity for growth moving forward in the next 1, 3, 5 years? And I'll come to you in a sec.
So still on the letting, so we're very heavy on the letting side. So acquisitions, we're with the raft of legislation.
How many lettings do you manage? Do you mind me asking?
About 450.
450. That's a good, healthy level.
Yeah.
And a valuable level.
Well, so lettings pays you twice, right? Because everyone goes, you get paid every month. No, but it also adds to what your company is worth. So me and my brother will sell our company at some point.
Yeah.
And it's the lettings thing that we that we sell. So we're looking for acquisitions as all the legislation keeps changing, and you get to a certain age of business owner that goes, I've been through this once. We had the tenant fee ban. Now this is coming in. I think I've sod this. I don't want to do this again. And then in terms of us, I believe, as I say, so I'm looking for my core agency for AI to enable us to have better relationships with customers that they'll pay more money for. So we increased our fee. So I last increased my fee by 10% because my key man at Timpson's increased the price of my key by 10%. And I thought, that's it. Everything's gone up. And he went, these are now 10% more. So I just went back to him and said, right, we're now up 10% because even our keys are. And that's the thing. So I was speaking to Mike Nettleton yesterday, and he explained well. So I've got a taxi here today. The taxi driver, petrol goes up. My taxi fare goes up. It doesn't. So that's what agents need to look at. And then I think, by nature, I imagine we'll grow in terms of, we call it a franchise, really. So we'll have people speak to us either with their own businesses. The overheads are too much, or they want to start their own, but they, and we think we're big on brand also. Our brand works in kind of cities and certain areas. So I imagine by 5 years, we will have a couple of handfuls of business owners working under the Charles David Casson. We're not looking to be have 700 or anything like that. I believe in territories. I don't believe that you should have 4 in the same town.
Correct,
or anything like that.
And do you like Steph's sort of take on almost being that local mayor, as Chris Watkins used to call it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But that kind of virtual video, I can't remember the exact term, but it is that, I think, that's the big personal agent, personal brand. That's the person I want to go and work with. I want my house to be listed by
yeah,
that person.
most definitely, because it is that, we built the business more or less on Facebook, but when people are posting in the community groups and things, some people say Charles David Caston, but most people say go and see Matt Baldock, go and see Neil Baldock.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get my team so that their names are then kind of included in that. And so that's what I think. So Lionel over in kind of Queen's Park, he walks down the street and he's been an agent there for 35 years, so everybody knows him. And that's the kind of the way that you want to build it, I think.
What about you, Steph? I didn't quite get to your why earlier.
So look, I was born into a family of estate agents.
I remember that story.
So it is ingrained
in blood.
In the blood. Everyone hates it when I say that, so I keep on saying it. So I didn't fall into a estate agency. It's been the only industry I've ever worked within, although I've done different roles within that.
Yeah.
And so I see the future being this experience. Selling a home is a good experience. Selling a home can be a profitable experience. I see personal agency being the pioneers of making people more comfortable moving home. Yeah. I actually think one of the big things wrong with the UK property market is how alien we find it and how we almost try and avoid moving home wherever possible, and people stay in their homes far too long. We could create so much more capital wealth within our lives if we move more frequently. And I think part of this new age that is coming is going to make people move home more often, which of course makes us all more profitable, which is great. But it makes the experience better and it makes people more wealthy themselves. And I absolutely love people. I'm obsessed with properties. And I think it can be an exciting time.
Do you think it's like time that we kind of got the industry to feel like that and be like that? Because it has felt like, I can't remember, someone done a video saying it's not very sexy anymore. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Jason Ball, but I just saw this video. It made me laugh out loud a little bit because it's never really been that sexy for me. It's always been fucking hard work. However, I do feel like there's an opportunity for us to take it in that positive direction together, whichever model we're following.
And look, there's a little bit more sexiness about it now that we've got cinematography and all these sorts of things.
Does video work for selling a house, Steph?
But I swear to God, the rest of it is emotional turmoil. I feel such a weight of responsibility for every listing I have on the market that is unsold. That for me is, I think about it 24/7. Yeah. But does the videography, does becoming, let's be honest, it's a bit egotistical, but the fact I can walk down the street and people go, "That's Steph, the estate agent," makes me feel pretty good about myself. So
it's better for you than it is the client selling their home.
I think, though, it's this place where it can be good for both.
Yeah.
Rather than good for none.
It does, but I think
you got eyeballs on it.
You don't want to drive, if you leave the headline, "Oh, let's make it sexy," then you're coming away from the point of saying it's actually about people's lives.
Yeah.
So the main point about if someone overvalues, the biggest problem isn't that I lose the listings over, it's that their customers made their onward plans on that being overvalued. And so they've actually fucked with their lives.
Yeah.
By doing that.
Massively.
So I think that's where we need, and again, going back to my original point, agents that have got LinkedIn can actually say that and explain, don't go, "Oh, I can't believe agents are overvaluing, I've lost another listing." No, hey, this agent overvalued, now that lady's not going to be able to move her kid to that school, and explain it that way.
And actually, if personal agency, be it as a agent working for somebody, with somebody, whatever that might be, but if personal brand really becomes a proponent of the choice of using one agent or another, that does take away overvaluing, because you will not last very, very long when you're not a faceless agent. And that's the one thing corporate allows. Yeah. Most people wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. They don't know that it's Steph or Matt or wherever working in the office. I listed with Entwistle Green and they were shit, and that's the end of that.
Just I'm going to come to some quick fire questions in a minute, but before I do,
I don't think we've got quick fire answers.
No. and also, I'm going to be really annoying and just say one last thing.
Cool.
Because I'm a big believer in language. And I got this from a chap who comes to my dinner called David Johnson. He says he wishes we stopped referring to ourselves in an industry and calling ourselves a profession, which I agree with. Now, the people that do call us their industry are the likes of Jason Ball and others who aren't actually estate agents. So what estate agency has got is this wonderful world of people that don't sell houses, but the most vocal. And this is the bit that why I want agents to actually realise they've got LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because I've
got a great first question.
When we're
for
having
you,
the word industry, it might be their industry because your industry is marketing, recruitment, but it's our profession.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
And actually, so I think we
I've
need
called
to
it a
change
profession
our-
and been ripped before because I do think it's a profession.
Let me know when that happens, and me and Steph will come and defend you.
See, I'm getting old. I've got to stick my glasses on for this bit. But anyway, just shows that I haven't been going off of a script. But just on that point, biggest ego in a estate agency right now?
Chris Buckler.
I love it. And if you say it, that would be fucking hilarious.
No, I only say that 'cause he literally phoned me earlier. So it's the first person I thought of. Well,
Apart from me, obviously.
yeah, you. I don't know. I mean, Willie. I think Simon Whale would be upset with me if we didn't mention him. You know, but for all the right reasons. I don't. I think there's a lot of people with opinions on things that they've never done before out there. And I don't know, mate. I can give you the clickbait, and I can.
No, I'm not.
But all I'm saying
go on
is,
then.
if someone's post starts with "if I was an agent" or "when I was an agent," be a little bit careful about how much you put there because it's all very well to say. It's like me going, "Oh, if I was a personal trainer, this is how." But look, I'm not a personal trainer, so don't take fitness advice off me. Same, don't take advice off someone who's never ran a business. Is my thing.
So Simon Whale. This was fucking quick fire. Steph did warn me, but anyway, what about you?
I think the industry is full of ego, and I think we've all got one.
Oh, you've got to have something. But who's got the biggest ego in the estate agency right now?
Do you know what? I actually I unfollow people that chat shit. I don't look at their posts. I block them.
Are you quite savage?
Oh yeah, I
off.
remove more people than I add.
Russell Quirk must have one of the biggest egos.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. But I think he would also enjoy us saying that.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Oh, he does love it.
Yeah,
all right, quirky.
Yeah.
Surprise,
I think
surprise.
that's a safe bet.
Yeah. I'd say it's a fucking safe thing. Anyway, last time you seriously doubted yourself. God, this is a bit introspective.
Oh, I think if you're not doubting yourself on a weekly, daily basis, what are you doing? Just sat there, staying still. I think constantly reviewing, assessing, refining is the only way that you move forward. And if you are sat there and you're genuinely anxious and doubtful, that's something very, very different. But you've got to be inwardly questioning yourself at all times.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
On the train on the way up here, I work with imposter syndrome on a daily basis. So where I'm fairly outspoken and stuff, and people don't generally realize, but I question everything. So I walk from the train thinking, oh God, I can't believe I've got to do this. Then I don't know what's wrong with me. When I'm there, I have to interrupt and be like the live soul of the party. Now, I'm going to have to have a bit of a quiet moment on the train on the way home. But I'd always say to my other half, I'll go to a lot of conferences. I know, again, you're a big fan of the conferences. I'll say, I've got...
Oh,
and she goes, well, you're good at it. You enjoy it. But I'm always, oh God, on the way here, I was like, imagine if I get to this podcast and say something stupid. No.
Don't worry.
You did.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
But it's quite regular for you to kind of doubt yourself in that kind of area, and I think it's a good admission for all of us because I was thinking I've never met Steph before. We've only caught up a couple of times, and you kind of the idea of this show isn't to make people look fucking stupid. It's actually to have a really good fun time talking about the industry and the subjects that we're passionate about. And we probably won't agree on some things, but actually I think it's healthy to talk about it. Yeah. I think LinkedIn's a bit more unhealthy because it's easier to hide behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
What's harder, hiring great people or letting the wrong ones go?
In some ways, I actually think letting the wrong ones go.
Yeah. Why is that?
Kenny Bruce once said to me, "You can't make or save everybody," and I think that's been one of the hardest lessons I've ever had to learn, because I've always tried to find a redeeming quality, or maybe it was my fault in some way, or those sorts of things. And also, I get far too emotionally invested in people, and I'm disappointed for them that they're a knobhead, or that they don't try, or that they waste an opportunity. And that really frustrates me. But I have to learn it's not my responsibility.
It's a lot of energy as well.
Yes.
A lot of energy.
Exhausting.
And then you end up... I'm supposed to be asking you the question anyway. Thank you. What was your answer there, Matty?
probably letting the wrong person go. I think I love an underdog. I think me and my brother didn't have like the easiest of childhoods, and so when we come up, I always like, if I get someone in an interview and they've got a bit of a sob story, I'm like, don't worry, I'll save you. I used to want to always save people.
But that's a trait we've got.
And
isn't
eventually you have to realise, you can't do everything for everybody. And then I get annoyed a bit because it's a fucking great opportunity to work with me. And and when people,
I've got a new answer for the ego question.
There's some such gold in this
and when
episode.
people don't, kind of, and they throw it away a little bit, and you're like, oh,
Would you work for
Did
him?
you know what you had?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you work for Matt?
Yeah, and I'd ask to introduce commiserate.
So coming back though, do you put more time in to the wrong people than you do the right as leaders?
I think often you do, because you sort of have this, when people get it and they're trying, it's very easy to go, right, pop off now, you're doing it.
Yeah.
But what do marketeers always say, and this is a rule that that should be applied to everything: spend money where you're making money.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Spend your time.
I listened to something the other, and I can't remember who it was to quote them, but it was that. So like with feedback, so feedback is actually criticism, right? So you have someone that's not doing something, and you always go, this isn't going right, this is what we need to fix it.
Yeah.
Because if something's gone right, you go, that was a great job, and then you leave it there. Because actually, that should be the conversation you carry on. That was really good. How did you do it? Let's do it.
A lot of the audience, I've been looking at the audience and who's watching and everything else, just getting an idea. And I think a lot of them are business owners, and I think we all struggle with the letting the wrong ones go. And we think it's because we're trying to help them, but actually you're helping them more.
I also think
By letting them
it's
go.
a bit of an ego thing. This is why I've...
What, because it looks like failure?
Because you think I've hired the wrong person. Like, we all do it.
Yeah.
Everybody interviews differently to when they turn up. Because we've all done it. You've interviewed someone, and then their twin sister turns up, and then, where the fuck have you come from?
Yeah.
So just let go of the ego. You can't always get it right.
Yeah.
It's funny this, because this was quick fire around this one.
Yeah.
Would you work for Steph?
I would work with Steph. I don't think
I have business partners.
I don't think I'd work for anybody.
Would you work for...
I get the sense that you're unemployable.
Yeah, so do I.
But a good business partner?
Absolutely.
And vice versa? Would you...
Yeah, I think actually there'll be lots more working with people across this industry over the next 5 years.
I've got 4... In the last 6 weeks, I've collaborated with 3 agents on 4 deals.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't got the time. And actually, we worked on these things together. I've had another agent message me overnight. It was a competitor that hated me a few years ago. And he said, actually, Matt, I think you could help me with these 2. And it's like, yeah, I'll put them in the database. I'll give them to... And I just think you just get so much further together. Legacy or lifestyle?
Legacy.
Yeah.
You're battling,
Look,
man.
I'm a founder and 5 years in, a bit of lifestyle would be quite good right now.
4 days off, 5 days off.
Again, my ego tells me, but also had a conversation with somebody on the way down today in that, look, you can change your life through brokerage, but also there's this little side quest, right? I believe we're going to be a big part of changing us to a profession in the eyes of the clients and of buyers and sellers across the UK. And to be even a small player within that happening, I think that's super special.
Yeah, I and everyone that I've had on, through their different ways of getting there, have all got the same kind of general outcome that they're looking for the industry. What's one word your team would use to describe you, Matt?
Oh, well.
Cuddly, lovely,
handsome.
handsome.
They're not allowed to say prick. That's they can say anything they want. But that's just that's a weird interview. When I tell them when they first day, I'm like, right, you can call me anything you want, by the way, but don't call me a prick or you leave through the window. I don't know why. It's really
it's the word that
really
irritates
triggers me.
So let's say it's not that one.
Yeah. What would they say? Honest. No, reliable. I reckon.
Okay. Come on, Steph.
Bold,
like that. Reliable and bold. Final question of what's been a fucking great interview. Would your business survive if you took a year off?
Right, everybody's business should. I've just gone through the pain of
Getting it to...
being a founder, letting go of control.
Yeah.
It's not been my favourite 2-3. The idea knocked me sick to start with.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we've brought in an absolute incredible woman into the role of head of operations, perfectly suited to that role. And I know she has a unique skill set in doing that for franchise brokerage style setups, etc. But as a founder, and it's the ego, and it's the imposter syndrome, and it's the, this has been your baby, and you're letting other people bring it up. That has been the toughest thing to go through, I would say. Tougher than thinking, shit, we've got no money to pay the bills, and all of those things that you go through. But it is an essential part of saying that everybody has a specialism. Everybody has a key area of the business that they can truly be a difference maker within. Yeah. And you've got to get to that point, and you've got to push through the pain.
Definitely. 100%. So that's a yes or a no?
I've forgotten the question now. I started talking that much.
Would your business survive if you took a year off?
Now, yes.
Oh, my brother would tell you yeah easily.
Yeah! that was different answers there. But look, have you enjoyed today? Thanks for travelling down. It's been brilliant to meet you properly today. Yeah. We had a quick hello before. And Matt, again, like I said, thank you for giving up your time today. It's been really good. And guys, follow Matt Baldock, follow Steph Walker if you don't already. I'm pretty sure you probably do. And thanks for watching the show. Follow, subscribe, like. Give us all the praise you like and help us move forward on this mission. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Adios.